Hi, my name is Brooks Bays, and today we will be discussing should the Supreme Court be more active on protecting our Second Amendment rights. We'll be doing this through the New York Rifle and Pistol Association v. Buren court case. We'll be discussing how the Supreme Court should decide and whether this will lead them to further protecting our Supreme Court rights or restricting them.
You want to read it?
I've never seen someone read about the Second Amendment before. Yeah. I'm actually doing a group project on this.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what it is?
Okay.
Give me a good answer.
So basically, this book is just saying, the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution is the right to keep and bear arms.
Okay.
It was ratified on December 15th, 1791 with a few other articles on the Bill of Rights.
Mm-hmm.
The Second Amendment actually, how it goes is it says, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And many historians agree that the primary reason for passing the Second Amendment was to prevent the need for the United States to have a professional standing army.
Wow. Yeah. What are you reading about?
I'm reading about gun control and gun laws, in the early time.
No way. I just talked to someone that was actually reading about that too, on the opposite side of the library. But I'm actually doing a group project about this. So would you mind reading me
a page from my book?
Sure. Yes. Or what you've learned so far from reading or whatever.
Yeah. I'll just read a page from my book. So this page is talking about how in the early time period the use of guns was mainly for hunting, for food, masculinity, and target shooting. The idea of gun control didn't enter the conversation until after a big mass shooting in Chicago that happened in 1929, known as the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, where 7 members of an Irish gang got shot. And then this page also talks about how Lyndon B. Johnson signed the first Gun Control Act in 1968, banning mail-ordered sales of rifles and shotguns, prohibiting most felons, drug users, and people found mentally incapable of buying guns. So yeah.
That's really interesting. Hi Priscilla, I see that you're reading a book about the Supreme Court. Do you think you could tell me a little bit about what you're reading?
I'm reading about how New York is criminalizing the possession of handguns. However, a New York citizen may apply for a license to own and in some circumstances even publicly carry a handgun. Government officials called licensing officers review these applications and decide whether the applicants meet the requirements to set forth New York Penal Law Section 400. This is where the court case of New York State Rifle and Pistol Association Incorporation versus Buren came into play over whether New York's discretionary gun permit law, which requires an applicant demonstrate proper clause to carry a weapon for self-defense purposes, and violates the Second Amendment. In this pivotal Second Amendment case, the court files the opportunity to substantially extend its 2008 decision in District of Columbia versus Heller. In this case, the justices proposed several hypothetical questions as to whether the state could restrict firearms on university campus, New York subways, sports stadiums, bars, or Times Square.
I see you're studying about the Supreme Court and what it's doing with the Second Amendment. Yeah. Would you mind telling me about what you've learned so far and what you think they should do?
For sure, yes. I'm talking about reading over here about the Supreme Court and how they seem ready to expand the Second Amendment rights after hearing arguments over the past few hours and expressing their skepticism about New York laws that restricts individuals from carrying concealed handguns outside their homes as self-defense. And so during the whole trial and justification, they're discussing how the justices did suggest that restrictions would be sensitive in areas such as schools and subways, but New York law has written it was too hard to dictate, which is right, which is wrong. So the court potentially could allow more guns to be carried on some of the busiest streets and largest cities in the nation. Also, at the time, the Biden administration has vowed to push for more enhanced gun regulations.
Yeah. Thank you. That's actually really interesting.
Well, I'm reading about Heller being involved with firearms in the home, and the gun had to be unloaded and disassembled, and the court favored Heller because it violated the Second Amendment right.
Okay.
And the total ban on handguns, as well as its requirement that firearms in the home be kept non-functional, even when the necessity for self-defense violated that right. The court provided guidance as to firearms restrictions in public stating that nothing, in our opinion, should be taken to cast doubt on laws forbidding the carrying of firearms in sensitive places such as schools and government buildings. And the story behind this court case of the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Broome is from Robert Nash and Brandon Koch. Applied for a general concealed carry permit under New York law, but the applications were denied by Richard McNally for the lack of proper cause.
In conclusion, we think that the Supreme Court should advocate for our secondary right because it is stated in the Constitution and we deserve that right. And as the case New York State Rifle and Pistol Association v. Buren is being decided, this will determine which way the Supreme Court leans, and hopefully they do lean to advocate for the Second Amendment rights to protect our gun laws.